No use, please. Trash.
Hi, welcome to Kelly, where we talk about life, your life and my life, and through Kelly, we hope to inspire. I have on the show today...
Hey guys, my name is Jenin Gonzalez, and I am a stunt player. I am also an inspiring stunt coordinator.
So, Jennings, let's talk a little bit about your history, how you got into what you're doing, and the difference in the terms of...
being a performer?
Being a performer, yes.
Fantastic. So yeah, that was an interesting story. I started off in gymnastics because I was able to move into a new environment from where I grew up. I grew up very poor.
Okay.
And so when we moved to a brand new high school, I wanted to do a backflip like the Power Rangers.
Okay.
And so I saw gymnastics on a roster, and I was like, I think I want to try that. And I trained every single day. I walked to school at 6 a.m. My coach would be there and unlock the door. I was training there for 2 hours before school started. During lunch, I would train, and after school, I would stay there till he kicked me out. I went home because my first cartwheel was to my face, just to give you an example of how naturally untalented I am as a performer. I saw a guy do a backflip. He did it over my shoulders. I got mad. I ran full speed onto the floor, tried to do a cartwheel, didn't realize I had a hurdle, and they looked at me. It's like, hey, what happened to your face? And I'm like, nothing. But what ended up happening after that is it really motivated me to go home and practice. My coach didn't quite teach me.
And you said you were from a poor family, so that was a privilege to be able to do something like that too, or is this when your family had moved up a little bit?
So we moved. So my mom had to work 3 jobs her whole life. My dad left us when I was young, and from there, after she found a person who was really caring and decided to, pitch in and do the things, he took us in as a father figure.
Right.
But to me, it was one of those things where a stepdad wasn't quite connecting with me because he also had to work so often. He decided to move to a new environment, an area that was just being developed. And this was in Texas, by the way. And we ended up moving out. When I got to that new school, it was just barely being built. This place was first year. So when I entered, it was something that was different to me. It was a clean environment. Like, everything was shiny. I had no idea how to respond to it. But with that in mind, seeing this thing, gymnastics, I just assumed gymnastics means backflips. Because I remember the Pink Ranger would do gymnastics, and she could do cool flips on a balance beam. And so for me, that was the most amazing thing ever. But I didn't realize how ungifted I was as an athlete. I would go to school every single day and try my best. Well, I ended up going home during the summer. We didn't have training. And there was an online page that was called Drills and Skills. I went out of my way to go record myself and check and contrast what was good, what was bad, where I was needing improvement, to the point where in 2 months I managed to go back in the gym after we started school back up. The spring floor felt amazing, and I did my first tumbling pass, round out back handspring, Arabian step out, round out back full, which I know sounds like Chinese to you.
Yeah.
Lots of cool flips, and then a twisty flip. And everybody was like, what the heck? What just happened, right? I had seen a quote that said, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard.
Yes.
And that was the thing that had motivated me this entire time, especially when this one guy had never done a backflip and he did it over my shoulders. Blew my mind. We're still friends today, by the way.
Wow.
But it ends up being that my coach comes up to me and he says, Jenin, you're amazing. The things that you do are fantastic. I've seen you come in here. You're here before I get here, and you won't leave until I have to kick you out. I got a family to go to, but I can't use you because if you don't pass, you don't compete. I was failing every single class. Freshman year, I had missed 116 days of school. Just to give you an idea of how negative my life was. It took that one thing for me to realize that everything in life was simple. I sat in the front of the class and realized that, no joke, everything is putting things together and memorizing things. And if you can do that, if you can just do those 2 things, everything is easy.
Wow.
And I went from 30s and 40s from just guessing, I haven't picked C enough today, to getting 90s and 100s. And because of him, I graduated. Because of that situation, I went to an open gym. I got into parkour. From there, I went and started jumping off buildings, playing zombie tag with a friend. We'd gotten to a level where parkour becomes extremely dangerous. You know, there's only so many levels to where eventually you're just not thinking about it. You're in a state of flow. And somebody's watching us from a distance. And so I go, and he's a lawyer, by the way. I used to make a joke where it's like, you know, lawyer by day, free runner by night. And he runs up this wall and he starts climbing in South Lake, getting up on top of these buildings and starting to run away, thinking I'm not going to follow him. Well, I grew up in the hood. It's not a big deal for me. It ends up being that as we're going, he jumps down. He's taller than I am, so he jumped up and over while I jumped straight, and it allowed me to tag him right on the spot. Gloating a little bit, I decided to do a corkscrew, which is essentially a gainer with a full twist. And this gentleman walks up to us, and he has a kid next to him. He says, "Hey, could you do that little flippy thing again? What's it called?" I'm just like, you know, it's a corkscrew. My friends were there. They had no idea what was going on. He's like, yeah. Do you mind if I get that on camera? I'm like, for sure. Go ahead. And so I show him the trick. He's like, "Hey, my name's Russell Towery." And he shakes my hand. No idea. And he's like, "Have you ever been on television before?" I'm just like, I mean, I've done indie stuff. I don't know. And he's like, "You know, give me your information. You got a card or something? We'll talk. And I'm like, all right, you know, sounds great. And as he's leaving, my friend goes, "Dude, that was RoboCop." And I'm like, wow. That's pretty cool. You know, I didn't know what to expect. So he calls us in for a little audition, and you know, we're doing a couple things. The ground's wet, so it's a little bit difficult, but we still managed to do it. He ends up hiring me for this show, and I've never been on set, like on such a big set before. I was working with Colin Hanks at the time, Tom Hanks' son, just to clarify. And I have to jump over this vehicle like 20 times that's going at me like 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, or something like that, in a parking garage. Have to jump over their camera. They're trusting me not to kick it. And they're, you know, all these things are happening. And to me, it's just a regular day,
right?
You know, because this is how I train. But he comes up to me and says, you know, they're not paying this guy enough to do what he's doing, you know? And then I'm about to leave, and he tells me, "Hey, you know, if you want to come back and you want to just watch what we're doing, you're more than welcome to. I can't pay you, but, you know, this is what it is." And to me, that was like, I replied with, "Oh, no, I can't. I have work. You know, I growing up poor, I'm like, I gotta make money, you know?" I hadn't seen the check at the time, you know, and it didn't make sense to me. And according to everything I'd heard in life, as soon as you're on TV, you become famous.
Right.
That's all I know.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't realize what he was saying, the undertone of what he was saying. His son was too young to do stunts, but he was still working with him, and he wanted to mentor me. He saw some potential with me, and he thought maybe it'd be nice to use me, or just at least get the hang of what it's like to be on set, to at least get proper set etiquette.
Right.
You know? And I did not understand that because I was thinking so, you know, simplistically, that I was too green to know. And so I said no. And then I did not know how to get into the industry. And it took a while. So I ended up being in circus stuff and going to do high diving shows and things of that nature. And then I ran into him again. And he said, "If you ever want to be taken serious, get your SAT card." And I was already tafted from a couple other shows that I'd done here and there. But Texas being very dry, you know, you just have to take that leap. And in due time, I decided to pursue it 100%. And then push came to shove. And I was like, you know what? Not enough work here. And so I moved to Atlanta.
Okay. So you were going to talk about the different terms as far as performers, different levels of stunts, and
so this is a very picky topic when you're in the realm of stunts. So just because you take a hit or you know, you're able to do a reaction doesn't mean that you're a stunt performer, right? You have to have a certain amount of skill. Like, I won't call myself a stuntman. The amount of prestige that goes under the word stuntman, especially considering how many individuals have worked for, you know, X amount of years and still will not do it. You know, that's
you have a respect.
It's a heavy burden to carry on your shoulders when you have to carry such a powerful name. The same thing with stunt coordinator. You know, I've stunt coordinated plenty of indie films, you know, and they've been really good films. Some of them have made a really good budget. And, you know, I've coordinated car stunts, just a few here and there, just thanks to some coordinators that just gifted me the ability to do this because they were busy at the time. But I still don't feel like I can carry that mantle of stunt coordinator. You know, like there's so much respect for the individuals that actually stunt coordinate because of the things that they do. They don't only look at, oh, well, here's your fight scene, you have to move this way. No, they focus on every single, as David Morza would put it, X factor that's out there. And they look at everything that could possibly go wrong and they fix it. They adjust it to where it's as safe as it's going to be. And they go through script breakdown, they go through budget. And at the end of the day, they are a one-man army. They can get people on their side to, you know, assist them, but when it comes to getting things done, it's a lot. It really is, and you don't see it. When you're on set as a stunt player, you only see what they show you,
right?
But you never see the hours upon hours, the phone calls upon phone calls. You know, being up at like after a 20-hour day, being up 4 hours later to go back to another 16-hour day.
Right.
You don't see any of that,
right?
And so there's a lot that goes into it.
So is that a title that you eventually want to obtain?
I would love to. It's one of those things where in due time I will have that title. That's not even and I want to. I'm going to get there.
Right.
The question is how long till I decide or I'm accepted to carry that title.
Right. Right.
So, but that's, I mean, it is what it is.
Right. Now you train. You train people.
Yes.
For what do you do? Stunts? You train people for stunts?
So I've been teaching in general gymnastics, parkour, circus arts for 12 years.
Okay.
So teaching just comes natural, and it's an evolutionary step to be able to adopt anything that you learn and then be able to break it down into prerequisites and then establish what you need to establish to be able to teach yourself and then teach other people.
Yeah, I saw you on set a couple weeks teach a couple people who were completely green, and it looked really good by the time that you were finished. Okay, so we're running out of time. I'm gifting you with this. That's to take home with you, some little chocolates for your belly to remind you that you're a gift in life. If you have, well, first of all, where can people follow you and find out more about you? Because I would like to just have you in here for a long time because there's so much information that I could get from you. Where do people follow you and find out more about you?
You guys can email me at jeninstunts@gmail.com, so JENIN stunts@gmail.com, or Jenin Stunts on Instagram. That's also a thing. But feel free to come reach out and ask any questions that you guys need. To be honest, there's so many people out there that want to know how to get into the business that have a really hard time. And had I not had somebody looking out for me at a certain point, I may have not been where I am today.
So is that advice you would give to somebody who was coming through, is to find somebody who...
Completely. Find a mentor. Find somebody who's going to guide you. There's always people willing to teach. There may be a lot of people that, you know, want to keep to themselves, but the majority of people have good heart. So
the other thing I was to hit on, and we got like 2 seconds left, you were going to talk about different body shapes and how that fits with stunts, that we're opening up to a time that different body types are being considered more.
Nowadays, Hollywood is diversifying in what it is that they're doing. Most places are. Back in the day, it was, you know, you were a white male, odds are you were going to get most of the jobs. Even being female at the time was a difficult thing. I mean, being female today is still very difficult.
Yeah.
But luckily, in the past 4 years, things have been diversifying. There's been a lot of stunt women out there, like, you know, Juandis, who has been looking out for people and, you know, going against this whole wigging thing that they've been going, you know. People nowadays, because Hollywood's looking at different body types and being more realistic about it, people who are a little bit heavier set are allowed to step in there and be a stunt performer. They're no longer body shaming when it comes to these people, and it's fantastic because there's a lot of people out there with good talent that deserve to be on set.
Right.
So
awesome. Thank you for that information.
Of course.
Guys, we hope that this segment educated and inspired you.